And now the conclusion of Life and Limb. The following morning, Michael entered the lab to find the artifact missing, along with Dr. Katz. He examined the acrylic case. The lid was still locked, and Michael was the only one with a key. What the hell? He called out to Katz. When there was no reply, he checked the supply room, gowning corridor, washroom. Finally, he bolted down the hall to Colette's desk. Have you seen Dr. Katz this morning? Yeah, he went into the lab about 40 minutes ago. Is there a problem? Both Katz and the artifact are gone. Colette's eyes widened. I haven't seen him since he went in. No one's been past here since other than you, and I've been at my desk all morning. Michael put a hand on her shoulder. Colette, relax. It is all right. Should we be calling someone? The Gardaí? The military? Just then, Michael's cell phone vibrated. With a sigh, he glanced at the screen. Hold that thought, Colette. He pressed the phone to the side of his head as he dashed into his office and closed the door. Mealy, 'tis gone. The arm is gone, and so is Katz. Listen, I took some time last night to look him up online, and he's here, Michael. What? He's at my house, and he wants to see you. The artifact is here, too. Are you all right? Has he hurt you? Not at all. He's been the perfect house guest, in fact. Michael was silent for a moment. What the hell was happening here? I'm on my way. He ended the call, his head spinning. How did Katz get the artifact out of the case and leave the lab unseen? At least there's no Dion Kecht around to kill you. Michael rounded his desk and opened the top left drawer. He peered at the small 9mm 6 Hour. Maybe you're right, Amelia, but I'm not taking any chances. With a deep breath, he snatched up the gun and slipped it into his jacket pocket before stepping out into the hall. Colette, I have a family emergency. I need to leave. I'll be at my sister's house. Is she all right? I don't know. What about the artifact? I'll call my contact at the Department of Defense on my way out. Well, okay, I hope Amelia's all right. The main door of Amelia's house was wide open when Michael arrived. As he pulled open the storm door and stepped inside, he squeezed his jacket pocket, felt the barrel of the pistol. Michael, come in. Amelia patted the cushion beside her on the couch. Please, take a seat. Across the room, the mystery man with the silver arm across his lap sat contentedly in a wooden rocking chair. Michael pulled the gun and leveled it at Katz. What are you doing here? And how did you get that out of the lab? Michael, for the love of God, put that away. He ignored Amelia, holding Katz in his sights. Michael, I'll not have guns in my house. I researched Lieutenant Colonel Kilduff. He doesn't exist. Katz grinned. True, a bit of hired help. I also researched you. There is no Dr. Katz at Merlin Park. Katz spread his arms wide. But you must admire my rather whimsical choice of location. Michael clenched his jaw, unsure of the man's meaning. Katz looked to Amelia. Tell me he's never heard of Merlin either. Michael stepped forward. Who are you? Your sister already told you, but you refused to listen. A 4,000-year-old doctor. Physician to the gods, no less. Prove it. Katz motioned for Amelia to lift her right arm. Michael risked a glance at her as she waved at him, wiggling fully formed fingers. Although actually, that's the work of my son, Miak. At the time, I could only produce this. Katz lifted the artifact from his lap. Needless to say, I didn't handle that very well. But I've matured over the eons. You could even say I've mellowed with age. What do you want with us? Is it not obvious? Miak and Ironmid, both healers of different disciplines. You even resemble them. I saw your TED Talk about limb regeneration, and I knew it was you. Then I learned about Amelia, a botanist. And I realized that this was my chance to atone for all that I'd done to both of you so long ago. Amelia leaned forward in her seat. I bought the silver arm from him, Michael. He was the antique dealer. That explains why you never asked how it came to my possession. Michael shook his head, holding the weapon steady. Still, none of this makes sense. You and Amelia are the reincarnation of my children. And you're off your goddamn nut. With his free hand, Michael reached for his cell phone. I'm calling the Gardaí. Katz held up a hand. No need. Your military are on their way, and I'm afraid I must be leaving, with the arm of Nuada. Why give it to us just to take it back? You have everything you need now. Katz held the artifact out before him. This has seen its last days. It's caused such enormous grief. I know you will employ your knowledge to the benefit of mankind. Others, I'm not so sure about. You've taken samples from inside of this, and what have you learned? My prosthetic contains the ingredients, yours, the stimulant. Of course, there is that problem of the extinct herb that, when combined with comfrey, actually primes the Wnt pathways to accelerate macrophage production. Pity I never learned exactly what that herb was. Or perhaps it could be synthesized. Katz looked from brother to sister and nodded. Sounds as if a partnership is in order. Amelia stood before her brother. She reached out and placed her right hand around the barrel of the gun. Reluctantly, Michael lowered the weapon. Outside, multiple vehicles came to a stop in front of the house. The car door closed. Katz stood. On that note, I must depart. Where will you go? Back whence I came. There was a knock at the door. It isn't wise to keep them waiting. With one last look at Katz, brother and sister started toward the door. As Michael passed the couch, he remembered what he was holding. He raised the middle cushion and tossed the gun underneath. Amelia opened the door. Can I help you? Good morning, ma'am. I'm looking for Dr. Whalen. I'm Dr. Whalen. Dr. Michael Whalen? Michael stepped up to the door. That would be me. Oh, Duncan! The young man smiled thinly and nodded. Hi, good morning, sir. He nodded toward the 3 black cars parked in the driveway. I'll need you to address me as Corporal McCabe for now. Oh, of course. I persuaded my commanding officer to let me approach you first. You know, friendly face and all that. Besides, he extended his right hand. I owe you a proper handshake. Michael grinned as he shook McCabe's flesh and blood hand. Right. He motioned toward Amelia and introduced the two. As their regenerated hands met, Michael's grin broadened into a full smile. Well, look at that. Down to business, sir. Is he here? Beg pardon? Dr. Katz. Michael pressed his lips together and shook his head. He looked behind him. The sitting room was empty. No. Why would he be here? We've been to your office. We know he's stolen the artifact. Your secretary was a bit reluctant at first, but she finally told us where to find you. Amelia's eyes narrowed. You interrogated Colette? Not at all, ma'am. We simply expressed the urgency of the situation. Then, to Michael, Sir, they're going to ask why you paid your sister a visit instead of reporting the theft of government property. Amelia's mouth dropped open. Government property? As of when? As of today. Michael put a hand on Amelia's shoulder. That's a long story, Corporal. Perhaps I should speak with your commanding officer. 1 month later. Yet again, Michael was late as he joined Amelia at a sidewalk table in front of Kupante. It was a temperate afternoon as the rays of the midday sun filtered through drifting gossamer clouds. The military again? I thought they would have stopped harassing you about Dion Katz by now. They did. No, our meeting about the building expansion ran long. Speaking of which, how do you like your new lab? 'Tis wonderful. And to thank you, I picked up a little something. Amelia lifted a thin white box and pushed it across the table. Oh no, not again. Just open it. He shot her a somber glance as he slowly removed the lid and parted a layer of white tissue paper. Purple comfrey. They're beautiful. Purple symphytum, to be exact, but... Michael peered up at Amelia as she looked around, her mouth twitching nervously. What's wrong? Well, you know I don't normally grow comfrey, but I was working in my garden over the weekend, laying topsoil in a new flower bed. And that's when it hit me. I could honestly say that I was getting my hands dirty. Both of them. 2 hands. My hands. I know this sounds ridiculous, but I was so overcome, I actually started crying. That's understandable. Nothing to be ashamed of. But there's more. I went into the house to dry my eyes, and when I came out, these purple comfrey had sprouted up where my tears had fallen on the topsoil. Just like the story of Ironwood I told you about. Michael stared at her. I'm not lying, Michael. He looked down at the flowers. Could it be that he and Amelia really had been the children of Dion Kecht in a past life? The children of a god? Gotcha. What? You should have seen your face with your mouth hanging open. I got you. I didn't say I believed you, any more than I believed Katz was Kecht. Your expression gave it away. No, it didn't. Yes, it did, Arse Biscuit. Nope. They stared at one another, neither one blinking. After a few seconds, Amelia cracked. "It's good to see you laughing again." "Well, I think you had a hand in that." "Ah, funny bird."